States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Mrs. Powers? Yes. Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Christopher?
Yes.
Dr. Marion?
Yes.
Mr. George?
Yes.
Mrs. Bird? Yes. Mr. Pratt?
Yes.
I need a motion to adopt the agenda as presented. Mr. Helms, second. Mr. Christopher, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, next we have comments from the public. Before we begin, please remember this is a board meeting rather than a public forum. The primary purpose of this meeting is to conduct the business of the board in a timely manner. As such, please keep the following in mind when presenting comments to the board. Individual remarks will be limited to 3 minutes and to 1 appearance per person. Also, the board president may limit comments of a repetitive nature on the same topic. Generally, comments or questions directed to the board will not be answered during the meeting. It is also important to remember that comments regarding individual students or employees, even if names are not used, may not be made during open session. Finally, the Board of Education would like to remind speakers they're responsible for any potentially defamatory comments made during the public comment portion of the meeting. All right, Mr. Dina.
Good evening, members of the Board of Education. My name is Arnie C. A.C. Dinoff, District Public Advocate. First, I'd like to talk about microphones. I'd like all of you to be cognizant and speak loudly into the microphone. A lot of people out in the public that I see and engage in on a weekly basis say they can't hear some board members speak. So we all have different voices, different methods, especially the president. She has a soft voice. A lot of people say they can't hear the president speaking, they can't hear vote counts. That's another issue that's brought up to the community. To me, is be nice if the president or the secretary of the board would announce the vote counts. A lot of them are either roll call or some are voice. We as a public don't have that transparency or that knowledge of how you voted. And I think those votes should be announced during the meeting and during the YouTube broadcast. Meeting's a closed session. You are mandated, and I checked with the Attorney General, several Deputy Attorney Generals, you are mandated by the Open Meetings Act and the Fairness of Transparency under Chapter 621.021. When you close any meeting, when you come back into open session, you have to vote to close the meeting within the public venue, and that's not happening. And if that continues, I think you and I are going to get into a lawsuit in circuit court, and the judge is going to have to rule, is the Attorney General, is the state law, Chapter 621 right, or you know, am I right, or are you guys right? So the economy, I think that we need to limit some of our expenses here and cut unnecessary costs and programs that aren't working for our district. Legislation, there's going to be legislative cuts, which I'm all about in terms of sales tax. I want to see the full implementation of SB 3, freezing all individual property tax for all homeowners, not just senior citizens. And I'm a big proponent of the abolishment of personal property taxes. But I'd like the board to put a ballot measure on the ballot in April, which the county has a ballot measure, to freeze property values of home values. But I want you to put that portion of the personal property tax to be absorbed in the real estate tax portion. Now, when it comes to policy recommendation BBBA, BBBAF2, BBE, and AF1, I think that not only you should not be a candidate or qualify for public office if you're convicted or enter a plea of offense of assault in the first or second degree under Chapter 565 of the revised state statutes, that all sex offenses, right now children are only governed, but I think all sex offenses, you should not be an elected official in Missouri at any office, especially a school board member. And finally, the Chromebook lease payoff. I ask that you buy as many Chromebooks as we can and store, because the tariffs are going to be 50 to 60%. We need to move from the lease agreement, which is now, we're not paying any interest, but they will be charging additional interest rates in the future months. Thank you.
All right, the consent agenda, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Motion.
Mr. Helms, second. Mr. Pratt. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Sorry. financial reports.
All right, good evening. Thanks for having me. I'm going to start off with the revenue side of things. If you see the revenue comparison report, I think the item that would get everyone's eyes, our local revenues are $2 million down compared to the same time last year. $1 million of that is expected because it's from E-rate. We just had a higher E-rate payment last year. We weren't going to pay it. The other drop is related to sales tax. It's about $1 million lower than last year. We haven't received guidance from DESI, so that does concern me after 3 months to be that far behind. The total revenue source is about $24 million, so at that pace, we would be short $4 million, or we could turn around in a couple months and it goes back up. It's just without the guidance that concerns me a little bit. The other note is the basic formula monies that we're on track for budget-wise. We budgeted at $6,900 because if you remember the uncertainty at the time, they moved it back up to $7,145, but recent DESI guidance actually from today had moved it back down to $6,900. They're going to re-examine in May. So right now, I think I was going to take a budget adjustment saying, hey, we're getting more basic formula, but that is going to go for the wayside. But with the other item coming up later about the lease payoff, I was really hoping for that, to just use that extra basic formula money that comes in and pays it off, and we wouldn't really be deficit spending. But I still think the lease payoff is better for us long-term financially. It's just, I just want to be honest that it puts us in a likelihood where it appears we've deficit spent this year if we do pay it off, just because that's $2 million more in expenditures we didn't budget, plus losing $2 million or so in revenue that I was hoping to get. And then on the expense side, everything is going with budget. You can kind of see like we spent the same percent we did last year at this time in most categories. The only item that's above, and Henry made sure for me to say sick leave payout. I think I called it severance pay in the memo. That's just how I've always called it, whatever type of sick leave or pension payout, called severance. And say sick leave payout. We've made no severance payments to any employees this year. And then just the other thing is I just put some notes in our leases just because I had a lease item and I wanted to draw attention to our total lease payments. We're currently about $13 million in lease payments between now and 2032. Of that, the computers make up, roughly $3 million, but we had so much already budgeted to pay this year, so the extra payoff that I'm getting ready to talk about is a little over $2 million. Do you have any questions on the financials? Or?
All right, then I need a motion to approve the financial reports as presented. Second. Mr. George, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, old business, Dr.
Okay,
Sevier.
thank you, Mrs. Powers. Under old business, we have one item, and that's our bond update. As you all recall, last month we spent quite a bit of time talking about our 2022 bond issue and all the projects and additions and new building that we were able to accomplish with that. It also highlighted some areas in which we were not able to. We were concerned that we might not be able to fulfill everything that we either talked about or as needs had come up in our in the years since that planning began, that we might have some shortfalls there. So we had that discussion. We outlined where our money had gone of that $125 million, what projects we had been able to complete, and then a list of other projects, major projects that were either listed with that bond in advertisement or, again, needs that had come up through the district since that time. So in order to make that decision, the Board of Education opted to conduct a survey of the community. We launched that survey on September 26th, and I have those results to share with you today. I want to preface this whole discussion by saying there's no action that's required. This is discussion. This is follow-up from old business, and our practice. This is consistent with our practice when we go to identifying projects under our bond issue, that we make those administratively. We bring the bids back to you for approval for any projects that we do delineate, and certainly we would follow that. However, I want to share with you what the survey results were. Again, this survey was launched on September 26th, and we had about 3,600 people complete this survey, which is a really good number. We were very pleased with that number, and I'm going to go over a little bit of the data here. You can see first off, this is just a breakdown of who completed the survey. We had some students at about 20%, but primarily we had parents and guardians at about 60%. and then staff members came in third, faculty and staff at 24%. Those students were about 13%. And then followed up by residents with no children in the school and business owners at the very bottom there. Again, that's just that same data. About 2,200 parents completed the survey. That's our biggest chunk of the 3,600. Again, that's just broken up if you're a student or a parent or guardian or staff member, which grade band most closely is representative of your situation. So we have a good breakdown there, a good smattering across all of our areas. Most in grades pre-K through 5, and then grades 9 through 12 is the biggest representative group that we have. And so this is the kind of the heart of the issue here that we want to grip the pulse of the community, our school community, and see where we were. We wanted the participants to rank the facility needs in Fort Zumwalt School District as we have outlined in order of importance to them as from their perspective. Just a short little survey here, and this is the aggregate result here. So you can see that just kind of visually there. The greatest number is in critical heating and HVAC upgrades and replacements. The second greatest number, critical roofing upgrades and replacements. Continue with the storm shelters, critical parking lot replacements and repairs, and then the district swimming pool. The survey tool that we used gives a score as well, but this is just kind of more information that shows where folks ranked and the different categories and the weight that was given to each option, and it comes up with a combined score there at the end that's highlighted in yellow, just to further illustrate how the results came in. Score 4.1 out of 5 was the highest in critical HVAC, and critical roofing, and then continuing with the storm shelters, parking lots, and swimming. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask you, so I was looking at the cost for the swimming pool. I was looking at the cost for the swimming pool, and I see it's at 25 to 28 million.
Yeah.
That's even higher than it was when we started.
Yeah.
Put the brakes on it. So
Yeah,
it's-
we estimate 25, and the way estimation goes, it's likely to go a little higher than that by the time we put a shovel on the ground. So that is the data from the survey. And again, we were very pleased with the response rate that we got. We feel like that's giving us a good finger on the pulse of what folks want. So with that, taking that data into consideration, I'm prepared to make the recommendation as to what we do, and I have this outlined in the memo to you that's in your packet, with our remaining bond funds. We believe that's about $32,750,000-ish. It's going to be somewhere in that range that we have to allocate towards all these projects. So what I would like to do, and what the plans would be moving forward, is to continue with our remaining HVAC projects that we have. That came out loud and clear, and even when we disaggregated that data and broke it down by all groups, that was number one. That's the number one priority. We've found that a comfortable learning environment and a comfortable environment in which to work is a priority, and that's almost a non-negotiable anymore. And when we have failures with equipment, which we have older equipment in some of our schools, that's what we want to address. When we have failures in our equipment, when the weather is less than ideal, we definitely hear about that, and we do everything we can to fix it and remedy it as quickly as we can. But our goal is to create a good, comfortable environment for kids to learn and for teachers to teach. So definitely would like to go forward with the HVAC replacements. We had originally identified 2 to 4, and our we would like to expand that out to the 4 that we've been talking about. These are all buildings whose equipment is at the end of their life, their usable life. So A, it's not efficient, breaks down often, we're spending a lot of money on repairs, it's just not reliable. So those 4 buildings are Osmond, MG, DeBray Middle, and West High School. Now, the board's already approved for us to move forward with 4 other schools that we're gonna work on in 2026. So that's already in the list of encumbered money which is allocated out of this bond. And that's North Middle, Pheasant Point, West Off, and Rock Creek. But we believe by in the next 3 years or so, we get these 8 buildings, we'll be in much better shape, spending a lot less on repairs and maintenance, and our buildings will be comfortable. Then I'd like to move forward with our critical roof repairs and replacements. Again, this is just in the area of needs that we have. When we have this number of buildings, we've got to stay on top of our maintenance and repair for roofs. Again, nobody wants to work in a building or try to learn in a building where we have roof leaks that we can't get under control real quickly. Also then continuing on with parking lot repairs and replacement. We've kind of fallen off schedule of taking care of our parking lots and just doing routine maintenance, and Lisa Kester and I have spoken about that. We want to kind of get back on schedule, and just our blacktop, every summer we need to be routinely resealing and striping blacktop. It just prolongs the life of it, and it extends the amount of time between which we have to dig it all out and replace it, which of course is a lot more expensive. We would also like to continue storm shelter additions at the elementary level. That was an item that was discussed at the inception of our bond when we started talking about plans for 2019 for the 2022 bond issue. And what was listed in some of the promotional materials is a storm shelter at every elementary school. We do not have the funds to complete in this 2022 bond issue a storm shelter at every elementary school. However, we want to continue to make progress towards that outcome. Again, prioritizing safety. We also believe that what we've learned in some of our previous storm shelter, that we want to try to make it a multi-use space that will give us more opportunity to use it than just if it's a box that we have at the end of the building that we hopefully don't ever have to use. So we would like to continue with that. We think that we could get, when we're putting this kind of budget together, that we could get 3+ buildings, storm shelter additions at our elementary schools in this current remaining amount of money that we have. Now there are variables that go into that, such as how big. When we talk about a multi-use storm shelter, that makes it bigger. We've got to make it bigger because it's scaled based upon the number of occupants that you have in there. And the more walls and the more desks and tables, you need to just make the footprint of that space bigger. So that means it's more expensive. So that's a variable. Another variable would be, how does it lie on the site? Do we have to move utilities? Do we have to move a road to put it on that site? And so that's another variable. But we think even with those unknowns, we would hope to get 3, maybe 4 storm shelters at the elementary level.
That brings us up to how many?
So that would get us, we have a storm shelter at Pheasant Point, Flint Hill Elementary, Mike Clemens Center, Early Childhood Center, North Middle School, and North High School.
6.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It is definitely an issue that, we are talking about when is the appropriate time to go out and ask for another bond issue. When that time comes, we will do some extensive surveying of the community and get what their needs are and wants would be. But we would definitely see that carrying forward into a subsequent bond issue as well to kind of round out those elementary schools. And then in addition to that, we know that Corrigan Clark is completing our needs assessment, and we know that we'll have some things that'll come to the surface as a result of that. We will bring that back to you when it is complete. And then we also know that we always have unforeseen situations that pop up that we've got to spend some money on. So just reserving a little bit of money of that leftover, those leftover funds, that 32+ million. So that is my recommendation as to how we take this remaining money and do with what we believe is going to be best for the district. It really comes down to spending money on the needs. That's where we are. Unfortunately, that means that at this point in time, under the 2022 bond issue, we do not see a path forward with the swimming pool. We also, as I said, don't see a path forward where we can complete storm shelters at every single elementary school. I think that those are two topics that we will engage with the community, get feedback on when the time is right to go back out for another bond issue, and we can talk about a pool. Is that feasible? Is that practical? Is that the best fit for our community? And storm shelters, and get lots of other feedback as well from the community when that time comes. But right now, unfortunately, it's not in the budget compared to what our other critical needs are. So I'm happy to answer any questions. Lisa is here and she can chime in as well. This is not an action item. This is a discussion item carried forward from old business. Any projects that we do undertake, we will bring bids back to you all for approval as we normally would. Okay? But happy to engage in any discussion, hear any thoughts that you might have.
I had a question. What number are you thinking for the reserve, to hold back for the reserve?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have that just yet. I think, we always have things that are gonna come up. A boiler's gonna break down in the
Right.
building and we're gonna have to replace it, and it might be a couple $100,000.
Yeah.
I think reasonably, probably $1 million.
I was gonna say about $1 million. I would try to keep it at least $1 million.
And it's tough because it's unknown.
Yeah, I know,
And
I get you.
Yeah.
I completely understand. Yeah, and I'm just looking for ballpark figure at best.
And I think part of that is gonna come in when we get this needs assessment back from Corrigan Clark. That's gonna help us a little bit. We're hopeful that's gonna identify some things that we have to do right away, and then make that unknown even smaller, because we're gonna have a lot more known than unknown. That's our goal. We wanna have more known than unknown.
Yeah, I agree.
I appreciate that we got a good sample, and I think sound like we're on the right track with what we have.
The only other thing is, we did have a service order that the board approved for our swimming pool, okay? And that means that's an engagement with our architect. We will have to likely bring something back to the board. We have, in spirit of transparency, we have gone down a very preliminary path with doing some planning. We did stop that early summer when we realized that we've got this issue here that we're gonna work through. So we will bring back a recommendation to look to amend that service order with our architects on the pool. So we just gotta close that loop on it, basically, and that'll come back at a subsequent board meeting.
Did that, I don't recall that service orders. Can you remind me, was that for a specific amount?
It's a percentage based upon the estimated cost
Correct.
of the pool, so.
I can look it up.
Yeah, it's architect fees that we pay
So you're
them.
probably gonna have to eat some.
Yeah, and we've already done a little bit of work, and we've paid them for the work that's been done. We've done some site visits for some pools. We've done just some very preliminary planning to see how much space we might require, and that's what led to us getting a good, solid estimate.
Right.
And that's when we kind of realized we need to regroup.
So you don't think we're gonna be stuck with money over what we?
I'm
have
hopeful that
actually
we will
done?
not. I'm hopeful that we will not.
And-
I'd like to think
Yeah.
that this is still on the horizon,
Yeah.
that would be nice.
And we've got existing, go ahead, Lisa.
I was gonna say, I just wanted to point out what we have spent is on schematics, so we haven't lost that money. If we pick this project back up and we use Corrigan Clark, they can pick up right where they left off, which should reduce their fees if you would go forward with the same project. There might be some revisions because of code.
What I was wondering is, obviously, we paid for work they've actually done.
Yes.
I
Correct.
was just hoping we don't have to pay for work they haven't done yet.
No, I'm hoping we won't.
Good, me too.
Now, if we don't go with Corrigan and Clark, just in devil's advocate here, does that mean we'll have to start over from scratch? Would they be able to use the portion that we've paid for already? Or would they have basically Corrigan Clark's work, or would they need to start over and say, we want to do our own?
I need to check into that because I don't know for sure.
That's not
I
a
don't
hard
have an
question. I
answer.
don't really need
Yeah.
an actual
Yeah.
answer, just something to think of, that's like.
And we similarly have agreement with Corrigan Clark to work on our storm shelters. So we will continue that. They're going to continue to be engaged with us through the remaining spend of this bond.
long as they do the right thing on the pool.
That's what I'm thinking, I'm hoping. Like, when are we gonna let this one?
Maybe.
Oh, okay. We'll see you in 2 years. That's when
Any other comments? All right, new business?
Okay, new business. Mr. Whittle has alluded to the computer lease payoff and our aversion to leases, and so he's going to explain what the recommendation here is related to our computer leases.
So I think the gist of my recommendation is to authorize spending $1.7 million more than was originally budgeted to pay off the lease. Doing that will save us $250,000 in interest over the next 4 years, and that's much more than I could expect to earn off $1.7 million invested in federal treasuries. And like it just frees up operating cash in future years that we can use to purchase, it's a line item to buy technology supplies, and it's gonna free up for other technology supplies next year instead of leasing. I know JB has a very long master plan full of his needs, and a lot of them are computers and Chromebooks, servers, and things like that, so all the cash we have available for it, I think is useful, and hopefully we can go down this path with our other leases over time too, so we're only buying this year's stuff and not paying for last year's stuff.
So you see that as being a trend going forward, to avoid leases and to buy?
We'll do our best. I mean, you
That's
can't
the
promise.
goal.
Yeah, I mean, when you enter a lease, it's either you couldn't get the item any other way, which is kind of what happened to our Chromebooks, or you don't have the cash flow.
Gotcha.
Right now, we have the cash flow, so we should do it.
we're going to pay interest if we don't have to,
Yeah,
right?
so just like with your house money is how I do it. It's what I do with my own money.
Yep, we're still paying interest.
I need a motion to approve the computer lease payoff as presented. Ms. Bird, second. Mr. Pratt, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
And Mr. Moore has that policy update.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. St. Pierre. Provided this to you a couple weeks ago or so. This is another one of these policy changes that will go into effect if the board is approving tonight. Will go into effect immediate tomorrow. We do need it to do so because the requirement came to us at the close of the legislative session. In order for us to have all of this updated and ready to go for the December rollout, when board candidates will be filing, we have to have it. It really is one requirement that was put in, and if you look at BBGA as a reference point to it, all of the requirements that are in there, they're all referenced to state statute. So anything that will go, mandatorily, it has to go in. This impacts two other artifacts that are in place under policy. So again, it's a requirement that's put to us by law. Make a recommendation tonight to the board that we get these changed and put in place so that we're ready to go in December.
I need a motion to approve the policy updates as presented. Dr. Marion, second. Mr. Helms, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Lastly, we have comments from the board. I'll start with you, Mr. Pratt.
Sure, thank you. Next week, we have National School Board Safety Week and Transportation Employee Recognition. So this is a time for myself, my board members, to thank our entire team, from the dispatchers, the mechanics, the drivers, to the monitors. We appreciate your work. Thank you. We can't educate if you don't get them to school, so you're a huge part of this. We appreciate it.
Ms. Bird.
Thank you. And on that similar note, Transportation is having a hiring open house. They're hosting an open house on Saturday from 8 to 11 a.m. at the Professional Development Center. When you join the team, you get paid CDL training, paid the day you work, competitive pay and full benefit package, and a schedule that matches the school calendar, which is perfect for families. Stop by to meet our transportation team, explore our buses, and learn more about your opportunities to join Zumwalt's mission to educate, empower, and equip students to excel. And I also wanted to say, a couple weeks ago, I had the privilege of participating and presenting at the Parent Organization Leader meeting. I want to thank Mrs. Wagner for organizing all of that, Mr. Whittle for giving a wonderful presentation on finances for those organizations, and especially Dr. St. Pierre for coming and participating even on his wife's birthday. That's true dedication.
Judge Mary.
Thank you. I had a couple things. One, East High Girls Golf. East High Girls Golf Team made history because they qualified 3 golfers. That's the most in school history for the state tournament. And the team also took 5th place in the sectional, so almost automatic team. So best of luck to Nancy Clark, Brooklyn Suttery, and Allie Bullock, who will play for a state championship next week. We wish them luck. Then, National Merit. Congratulations to 24 students recognized by the National Merit Foundation as they work toward their spring scholarship awards. 17 Fort Zumwalt seniors were named commended scholars, putting them among the top 5% of students across the nation who took the PSAT last year. Calvin Gray, Wyatt Hirsch, Hervé Jose, Luke Skinner, Ethan Glenn, Sebastian De La Hera, Shrinik and Turi, they were all named semifinalists, putting them among the top 1% across the nation. So, nice job to all of those folks.
Mr. George.
Well, it looks like craft fair season's upon us. Our community looks forward to 2 big events to kick off the holiday season. The South High Craft Fair is scheduled for this Saturday, October 18th, and the East High Craft Fair is scheduled for October 25th. Thanks to the volunteers who make these events a reality, and we hope to see you out supporting local vendors and artists at these events. I'd just like to thank all the teachers and staff and bus drivers and lunch ladies and all that, and the administration. I think we're off to a good year. I think it's going well. It'll be Christmas before we know it. That's all I have.
Yeah, I'd like to give congratulations to the East High School soccer team. They are GAC's Central champs. They went undefeated through their divisional games, including a 1-0 win over their arch rival and always very good for Zumwalt South Bulldog men's soccer team. So, did a great job, and want to echo Tommy's comments. Been a good start. Appreciate everybody's hard work. Have a great Halloween.
All right. All right, we have a wellness challenge. So I want to say thank you to the Benefits and Business Department who have brought new wellness tools to those covered by our benefits package. The WellBeats Wellness app is a service offered through our provider at no extra cost to us. The past month, almost 400 staff members took the challenge to get up, get moving, and make time for their wellness. Rock Creek Elementary staff logged the highest average minutes for team, and Flint Hill Elementary had the highest percentage of staff participating. Nice work to both. We're glad to bring these benefits to our team members because here you matter. Your turn.
Thank you. October is National Principal Month. I want to give a big shout out to our school administrators. We couldn't do it without you, just like all of our team. They wear many hats, and a lot of the things they do are not seen all the time, but we do know, we do see it, and we appreciate you. And that's all I've got. So we are going to adjourn. Please note, this concludes our agenda, and we will not return to open session after closed session. I need a motion to adjourn to closed session in accordance with RMSO 610.021 to discuss the approval of the minutes from September 18th, 2025, closed session meeting, hiring, firing, promotion, personnel, and student personnel.
Motion.
Mr. Pratt, second. Mr. Howell, roll call, please.
Mrs. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Howell?
Yes.
Mr. Christopher?
Yes.
Dr. Manning?
Yes.
Mr. George?
Yes.
Mrs. Bird?
Yes.
Mr. Beck?
Yes.